Let me see something real quick. Okay. Hi. Doing an impromptu live chat here as usual. You know, they come in handy, ladies. They come in handy. I'm well, and you? Just giving people a moment to try to drop in. Good morning. Good morning, Lou. See this over here. So I'm going with a live chat with this video. You know, it just makes my editing a little easier for some of the topics that I want to go over. So a lot of survivors may not have ever even heard the phrase pick me chick, or, you know, pick me. Some people might say pick me woman. I don't know. But, you know, a pick me chick is one that puts a man on the throne. It's a woman. Can I even call her a woman? It's a grown girl, and that, you know, who's not really stepped into her strength and her power. Okay. Maybe this could be a woman that thinks she can't live without a man. And, you know, a woman that settles and gets less than, that doesn't know her worth. You know, she wants to jump when a man says how high. Okay. She doesn't really understand men, and that's why she's constantly in these situations to begin with. All right. So you don't want to be the pick me chick. You don't want to be the pick me girl, woman, you know, or however you want to put that. You don't want to be her. All right. And my channel is centered around. Okay. Well, hey, from India. You know, I think that's pretty awesome how YouTube platform just allows you to connect with people from everywhere. So I think that's great. All right. But yeah. My channel is geared towards survivors of narcissistic abuse. You know, these are people that have been in toxic relationships, you know. And I do have like, I want to say like a 28% male audience, and I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to make a video for you guys to give you some suggestions moving forward if you found yourself attracting a lot of narcissistic women. Okay, so I haven't forgot about you guys. All right. But yeah, you know, once you've done the work in healing from narcissistic abuse or healing from toxic relationships, or once you've experienced time after time, you know, not getting what you wanted, or the man just always falling short, there's something that we have to evaluate within ourselves at that point. So I'm making this live chat to go over that. All right. And, you know, for those of you who don't catch it right away, you know, YouTube is going to record this and it'll upload like a regular video, only I won't have to deal with editing and none of that. The content will just be out there. But this allows more interactivity between me and people that subscribe to the channel. So, you know, feel free to leave comments and conversate with me while we're discussing this. All right. So let's talk about the pick me traits. I have a whole clipboard here full of things that I'm going to mention about this. All right. So the first thing that the pick me girl, the pick me chick is confused about is she doesn't know herself. All right. And she doesn't understand men. All right. And that's her target, you know, assuming that she's heterosexual. So now understanding herself, having that self-reflection to know what are her strengths, what are her weaknesses, what is she bringing to the table in a relationship, knowing her value, basically, knowing the areas about herself, because none of us are perfect, that she could make better. Okay, challenging herself to step up, step the bar up for herself, looking in the mirror and being honest. And this isn't just physical, but it could be physical as well. All right. And then not understanding men, because, you know, when we increase our emotional maturity, people always say, treat people the way that you want to be treated. But we can't use that per se when we're talking about two different sexes here. A man doesn't necessarily, a real man doesn't want to be treated like a woman. So it doesn't apply there. So you can't treat a man, you know, the way that you want to be treated. You got to treat a man the way a man wants to be treated. You know, so just understanding your target at that point, understanding how men operate is going to be important, ladies. Okay? And that's why in the Bible, actually, it says that a husband should love his wife, and it says a wife should respect her husband. You see how God differentiated the two sexes? I mean, of course, your husband wants to feel your love, but is it the most important thing to him? It sounds like respect is, you know? So that's just like one really quick example that I could point out from the oldest book ever written that will let you know that that whole idea of treat people the way you want to be treated, it doesn't apply when it comes to, you know, the sexes here. All right, so if you understand your target, you know, it will affect the way that you're interacting with them, right? So, as I just disclosed, we're understanding that men are big on respect. But if you have a man that you can't respect, you're already losing. If you're with a man that you can't give respect to, even on a dating level, you're already losing. You're already taking steps back. You're already settling. And these are things, that's number 2 on the list, settling. I mean, if you're already starting out behind. Hi, Deirdre from England. Wonderful. I've never been to England, and I want to visit it. It's on my to-do list. I got to get that stamped on my passport, but it's certainly on my to-do list. It looks like the shopping is most enticing to me, you know, and then I think there'd be some nice sights as well. Hey, I can't understand that name down here. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, number 2 on my list, ladies, is settling. And if you're coming into the chat, hit the like button. You know, that's a great way to support the channel and show your love for the channel, and it pushes the content forward. We need to get rid of pick-me chicks. If all women stood in their strength, do you know what that would change in men in even one generation? Like, it would get rid of these so-called fuck boys, right? We would be getting rid of them. All right. And for some of you, like, what is a fuck boy? Like, he is an ignorant guy who womanizes, you know, tries to take advantage and manipulate women and use their femininity against them, type of thing. All right. But like I was saying, ladies, I'm settling. That's number 2 on my list. If you're already, you know, just taking what you feel like you can get, just accepting any offer that's on the table with a guy, and not thinking long term or even short term, because a lot can happen, you know, with the wrong person in a short amount of time. And for those of you out there on my channel who have dated a narcissistic guy, you know what I'm talking about. They do so much because they're working really fast to get entangled in your life. But, I teach empowerment on this channel, and we know that these guys can only do what we allow them to do. They're only getting access to what we're letting them get access to. But if you already don't know that you're settling from the rip, if he's, not a protector, if he's not a provider, if he doesn't have his own life in order, is he ready? Is he ready, ladies, to be taking you on? To be even looking for a wife? Isn't he out of order at that point? What are you doing looking for a wife? You don't even have yourself together, So we have to start being more critical minded and, in our logic when we're picking out these life partners. And if the end goal is to have marriage, we have to understand what the institution of marriage, what it means, ladies. And step away from this Disney immature pick me girl mentality and that naivety that gets us in a jam time and time again. Okay? Because if your goal is to find a perfect man, you're already losing, ladies, because you're not going to find a perfect man. Some Prince Charming guy on a white horse that's going to be everything you've ever imagined. No, you're going to get another human being with their own flaws, with their own issues, you know. Dragonfly says he said he wanted those same things, but when it came down to it, he didn't. And that's fine, because we know that people lie, and people include men. But if we give them enough time and don't prematurely emotionally attach to them, we'll be able to catch the lies. And then if we do it in our strength, meaning we haven't done anything we didn't want to do, we've allowed ourselves to see the angles and not put on rosy colored glasses. Once we find them out, they just wasted their own time and played themselves, because they're the ones that's going to get dumped at that point. And then, they didn't get anything that they didn't deserve, perhaps, and you stayed in your control. You stayed in your strength the whole time. You did things on your terms. So if they lied, they just played themselves. But the problem is we make decisions and we get tied into relationships before they expose that. And maybe that's a person that's rushing. So I always advise women to be careful of whirlwind relationships. Like, what is the rush? What is the rush? I mean, if he seemingly jumping all in with his emotions, it doesn't mean that you have to join in with him. Doesn't mean that. All right, so let's be careful of the settling. And for all of you coming into the chat, make sure that you're hitting that like button, all right? So number 3 on the list, well, let me go back to settling. Settling, to know that you're settling means that you have to know what you're looking for. So if you don't already, what kind of lifestyle are you trying to maintain, or what type of lifestyle are you trying to increase to in life? How do you want your children with this man? What type of lifestyle do you want to have? And can he be a protector and provider of that? So it's just making sure that, when you join together with this person, that you're going to have a happy life. Where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years? Can you see that far with this man? So this is just seeing if you guys are equally yoked. I mean, and then there's just obvious red flags that, I find that a lot of women that get coaching with me, they don't see it right away. And I really want us to get better at that. Like, you shouldn't have to tell someone to have common courtesy. Like, certain things you just shouldn't even want to do. Certain things you just shouldn't even want to do. And pick me girls do it. They take a guy, they try to dust him off. They try to teach him things his mama probably tried to teach him, and then he did not, that he rejected, or maybe she didn't teach him. I don't know. is not your job. So when you meet a man and he shows you that he's not husband material and he's not ready, you have to see that. You really have to see that. How does he talk about other women? Is he talking nice to you? But then when he talks about women from his past, women in his family, even his own mother, is derogatory, is nasty, it's demeaning, it's things like that that we should be paying attention to, ladies. Because trust me, he may be talking nice to you right now because you haven't rubbed him the wrong way, but your day will come too. But he's letting you see that he has this certain disposition towards women. So you don't want him to have mommy issues and just issues with women to begin with. All right. So those red flags are so important, ladies. You're very right about that, Tracy. And I'm glad you could join. Never ignore those red flags. They become screaming alarms very quickly. Very quickly. Very quickly. All right. So for those of you joining in, make sure you're hitting that like button. But we're going down pick-me traits. The first thing that we touched on was not knowing yourself and not understanding men. That's right, Tracy. We pay a heavy price for that. Time we can never get back. Then we give life to their seed, carrying on their bloodline, and we love our children. But it's like, wow, when we think about the father, like he didn't deserve to get all that from us. We took our bodies, we sacrificed our bodies and bore life, extended their family tree. They didn't deserve it. When you find out that you ended up and you were duped and stuff. And, if you have had that experience, you definitely don't have to keep having that experience. Not if you're willing to check yourself. If you're willing to check yourself, you can get better. You can get better. All right, so we talked about not knowing yourself, what you bring to the table, not knowing your worth just as a woman, period. And then also not knowing the areas of your life that you could be better in. Nobody's perfect. Everybody can improve somewhere. And then not understanding men and how they think and what they want and what's a priority to them. Because it's not the same as what's a priority to men. I mean, to women. All right. So we talked about that. We talked about settling, how if you're settling, you're already lost from the gate. You're already losing from the gate. It's just a matter of when and how big of a loss is going to be. All right. We just talked about red flags and minding those and not pushing those to the side early on. The universe is letting you know, hey, you might not want to go in that direction. So the fourth thing that I can mention here is having a lack of femininity. Okay, not being in touch with your feminine side. All right. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday when I talked about the art of war. And was it that one? No, it wasn't the art of war. It was the live chat after that. The 3 things you could do to have a better relationship, be a better receiver. Yeah. So the women, you guys really have to learn how to be that when it comes to, the gender roles in your relationship. But a lot of you have been with such weak men that it puts you in a position of being a giver. Is that makeup? I see in makeup. Hold on a minute. What is this white? It's like a piece of lint that won't leave. And you guys probably can't even see it. It's driving me nuts. The lack of femininity. Let me just read these chats real quick. Yeah, it's going to be okay, Tracy, though. Mary Mundy says, love your chats. You have such a beautiful spirit. Learn a lot over the years of following your page. Off topic, just wishing the hoovering would end, and it's been years. Beware of those red flags. Yeah. Have you done everything that you can do, Mary Monday, to block the person from being able to hoover you? And I know that they can call from different numbers, create new profiles, unfortunately, But I wouldn't let it weigh on you the same, honestly. Like, oh, it's my stalker. We all have stalkers and haters and people that, lurk and creep. I have them too. You're doing something right. You're doing something right, trust me. When you have that going on in your life, it just means you're doing something right. All right. So, yeah, knowing how to be the woman. It hasn't, Tracy. It's only going to be that way if you let it, if you allow it to be that way. Look, I don't care. You have to be like, I don't care what's going on around me, but where I'm coming from, if somebody want to deal with me, if somebody want to be with me, come into my world, this is how it's going to be. You don't have to bow down to that because that's not the kind of guy that you want to be with. And I understand, because I'm a black woman and I've been out there as well. I understand it. Black men a lot of them are very broken. And that's why 80% of black babies are born out of wedlock. I know 80% of women weren't looking to be a single mom. It speaks to our men. And we have a very, very tiny, small pool of eligible black men that are actually sufficient. Okay. So that's something that was on my list here, and that's about expanding your horizon and being willing to actually date outside of your race. I co-washed my hair this morning. So you don't have to accept that. All right. You don't have to accept it, Tracy, or anybody. I don't care what the trend is, generational, the shift. But when it comes to me, that's how you have to be. Standing in your beauty, with your crown, okay? This is how it is with me. And if they want you, they going to do it. If they don't, then that's your red flag right there to part ways. Oh, you want to be on that? I'm not on that tip. That doesn't work over here with me. All right? That's how you got to be. And be willing to stand on your own until somebody is worthy enough. Like, don't put a man on a throne. Some women are so sick with it, they'll stay in a horrible marriage just to say they're married. What do you really have at that point? A sheet of paper. You don't have no happiness, it's miserable. So don't be one of those women, but make your own rules. That's what a woman does. She stands in her own strength and she commands. And a real man will respect you for that. And a real man won't be that way to begin with. Yes, we do, Thelma. We have to love ourselves. And that is on the list here, but we can touch on that. When you have an adequate self-respect, self-love, and self-esteem, you're already not going to be settling less. You're going to love yourself too much to do that. And that's down here on the list, but we could just jump down here. And that's, when a woman is codependent and coming off too needy. Because when a man sees a woman that's too needy, that's like a lack of confidence. All right. A real man wants a woman that knows she's the prize. At the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, you're the prize. He's trying to work for your honor. That's why he gets down on his knees and proposes to you. So we have to know our own power. We have to know our own beautiful attributes here. And when I say too needy, it doesn't mean like, oh, I don't need a man, because that's a crock of BS, because most of us aren't asexuals. Most of us don't have a fantasy of being single forever. So, there comes a certain time in our life where we want to make a slot or have room or space for, a life partner to come in there. So, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I really want companionship, I want that in my life, but it's not on a throne. He's not on a throne, because that's when you're going to take anything to get it, just to have somebody in that position, whether it's healthy or not. So that's the problem. Yeah, yeah. But I think, and that's good. That's good, Tracy. I know that these messages aren't in vain. Mary Mundy says, set standards and limitations and know your worth means everything, speaks volumes. Yeah. Have boundaries. Have boundaries. So, as far as being feminine, it's not for you to run out and go plan the first date. It's not for you to allow him not to take you on the first date. Talking about trends, the trends of nowadays with these low class guys who don't even deserve to smell it, okay? We can't let them get away with that. We can't settle. That's, goes back to settling, ladies. It should just disgust you. It should really disgust you. But they can only do what you allow them to get away with. Let me give you a fine example of this. When I was single, I was on a dating website years ago, ladies. And, I just said it, the pool, and I know I have non-black viewers, so this isn't to exclude you right now, but I know the pool of available black men is smaller. Okay, so me and my girlfriend was talking one day, and we discovered that we went out on a date with the same guy. But here's the difference. He invited her over his house for Netflix and chill. He didn't even try that with me. We went out to the restaurant. He asked me the restaurant that I wanted to go to, and I picked a 5-star restaurant, and we ended up going there. Now, I wasn't into him, I went out on a date and I didn't want to go any further with him. But when she and I talked about our different experiences, it was because her boundaries and her self-worth, she was willing to settle for, I guess, whatever the trend was. But I was like, what? I was like, wow, he didn't do that to me. Like, he showed up with flowers. We went here. We did whatever. It was very classy and nice. Like, he didn't put her on that pedestal. He didn't put her in that place. And chances are it was conversating with her. He seen where her head was, and he did the minimal that he had to do to keep her attention, to get her company. You hold the power, ladies. You hold so much power, and we give it away often. We give it away often. So, that's just an example right there. Now, I don't like guys like that, but it was real. He did the minimal to get her time and attention. And my minimal was a lot, though. He knew that right off the bat, that he was going to pull out all the stops. But what type of energy do you present to a man, and what would he walk away thinking about? Man, I just got her number. What about your energy? Would he think, man, I know I can't be half-stepping with her. Like, if I want to get next to her, I'm going to have to, And that's how you could see one girl get treated one way by a guy and another woman pull out something different from him. So, beware of the energy that, and it's what you would accept, as well. But if you even lowball, if he even tries to lowball you, that's a red flag to begin with. If he even tries to lowball you. Because a guy will gauge in a conversation what he will or won't have to do with you. And then he'll go from there. He'll consider if he's just looking to get in the bed with you, he still might meet your standards long enough to try to get you to give that to him. But if your standards are even lower, all right. So Terrell Surname says, hello, gorgeous. First time seeing your channel. You've already said life-changing thing I need to hear about. Creepers, never heard before. Yeah. Get comfortable. There's a lot of information here on this channel. Deanne says, hey, beautiful. Just checked in and excited about the convo. Yes, yes. We have to end these pick-me traits because I want all of you to get what you deserve, finally. I know it has to be, like, very frustrating. Dragonfly says, I was ahead with emotions, but the rush could be age if you want to have kids, but that's a whole other topic. No, we can make that relevant here. Because some ladies feel like, oh, my biological clock, so I better make rash decisions. No, because you waited so long, you really needed to go right. You don't have time to be making random selections at that point. You already feel like you're running out of time, so why make a rash decision? Then you're starting over again. You see the logic of that? You waited, so you should have the most maturity at that point than someone who might have settled down a lot younger before they even came into themselves. You should be making the best decision, not the rash decision. Cheryl says, hi, I'm new to your channel. Your information is really helping me to heal. Yeah. And then we're talking about children, who's more binding than a marriage, because you could divorce a guy that doesn't work out, but you still have his child. There's still a connection there. So it's even more binding, and we have to see that. Yes, Tracy, any man that doesn't take care of his kids disgusts me. Yes, absolutely, ladies. That should be a red flag. And you know they always say the same thing. Oh, the baby mom, she's so crazy. She's in the way. And then you find they not paying child support, all this other stuff. I'm allergic to that. Ooh. I would be like totally allergic to that. And just look, when he has all these baby mamas to begin with, why are you bouncing around starting families here and there to begin with? Why have you had children with 2, 3, 4, 5? What in the world? Like, and then you think he's going to be steady and committed to you? Look at the patterns, lady. Look at the patterns. They try to say our baggage. No, honey, you got that baggage. You got the baggage. All right. So the next thing that could block us from that good man, ladies, is having a big mouth. And I know what you're about to say. What? I'm about to bite my tongue? No, not in that aspect. Telling them too much about your past and stuff like that. Like, we're ladies, right? We're ladies. We've lived, but we're ladies. It's some things that your future husband don't need to know about you. It's some things that, I'm sorry, you just don't need to be honest. And people will say, most people ask for honesty, and trust me, most people cannot handle it, ladies. Men cannot handle it. I don't care how many hours. Oh, girl, that's my best friend. We could talk on the phone for 4 or 5 hours. I could tell him anything. Well, if he can't accept the fact that I had 30 bodies before I met him, look, I'm 35 years old now. Of course I slept with other people. I could tell him that number. He should expect it. No, I'm not saying that you got to lie and say you a virgin, especially if you got a child already. But it's some things that you just need to be a lady about. Like, he don't need to know how all these niggas, and I just said the N-word, but he don't need to know how they treated you bad. And that's why I called them that, because they treated you bad, used, abused you, wiped their muddy boots on you. They don't need to hear that. They don't need to hear that. If anything, you need to be presenting it to where you are used to the best treatment. You don't accept nothing less, because that's what's relevant to now and moving forward. All right. Don't paint yourself. Don't victimize yourself to a man. Don't tell him constant stories on how everybody dogged you out, because then he's going to be like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, you're my queen. Nobody else seeing your value. Like, he's going to be like, and then, if he is a narcissist, he's licking his chops at that minute, ladies. And he's going to be looking for a way to use that to be the next one to do it. All right. So when you meet the guy, you want to set that bar high from the rip. Don't go out accepting the Netflix and chill and then try to flip the script on him. You can try it later, but if you want to increase the odds, and we talked about this yesterday in my Art of War. And get educated, ladies. Learn about psychology. Learn about the art of war, because this is a war out here. And people, relationships is all about learning psychology, okay? Let me just take a sippy sip here. Shoot, he don't have to know that you're this genius. You don't have to do all that, but you just use the information to your advantage. So, Ink Dog, Therese says, waiting on my husband after a very toxic relationship with a narc is been a year. It's very hard to find a good man, though I'm in this generation. All right. Men cannot handle the truth. That's right, Mary Monday. Better tell him that again. Certain things you just want to close your mouth. Don't put your foot in your mouth. But I would say give yourself all the opportunities that you can, Ink Doll. Be willing to date outside of your race if you must, you know, because good men come in all shapes and sizes, ladies. So, you know, a lot of times we limit ourselves by not being willing to date outside of our race. She says most of these men are just out to play games and are very toxic. It's like the narcissist epidemic is very high. But those are the ones we just tossing them right back. You know, or whatever you want to get from them, you got it, and then you toss them right back. Mary Mundy says, well, a real man can handle the truth, but most of the bad ones will not. Narcissists will definitely use it against you. And yes, narcissists will use it against you, Mary Mundy, but I still don't recommend that a woman be telling a man her true body count and all this other stuff. I just don't recommend that. Whether you think he can handle it or not. Okay? Save that for tea time with your girlfriends. All right. So, here's the next thing that I have here on my list, and this is a simple one. Not planning, not having a plan. Not having a plan. Aw, thank you, Tracy, for doing super chat. She's so sweet. But not, and good morning, Marge Richard. Not having a plan. You need to have a plan when you're out here dating, all right? Know what you want to get from any guy that you're dealing with. Just have a plan, ladies. If the ultimate goal is marriage, that's fine. But maybe you might meet a guy, you might say, you know what? I don't know if he's husband material, but I don't mind spending time with him in the meantime, or you might find some usefulness. Like, I'm not looking for my husband right now. I'm just in school. I just want a friend that I could spend time with and have fun with and do this and that. But you still have expectations, ladies. You know, have a goal in mind when you're dealing with a man. Oh boy. Diane says, I still think my future male counterpart will be melanated. Anything else will be uncivilized. I disagree with that, but melanated means African American XX or brown skin. Yes, unsaid. But, you know, to each his own, Diane. But I just want you to know, do you know the statistics on available black men and marriage in the black community? Is not that great. So while it's not impossible, I think, you know, all black women should open up and broaden their horizon. All right. That's just my opinion based off of the statistics. All right. Well, hey, I wish you the best, Diane. And perhaps, you know, hey, I'm not saying that you can't have a brother. So you may have to work with, you know, I don't know what your list of standards are, but it may be some things with that brother that you might have to accept that maybe wasn't on your original list of being acceptable. It may be things, it may be compromises that you have to make in that relationship to get that one. You'll see. You'll see, you know, let's just see. Keep us updated on that. All right. But have a plan when you're dating a guy. You know, don't just be aimlessly blowing with the wind with guys. Like, have some type of plan, even if it's not being at the altar with him. You know, have a role, put him in a role, and, know what you're going to be expecting out of that relationship so that no matter when the relationship ends, you're not empty handed. It was like I had my plans just like he has his plans. Trust me, when a guy approaches you, he has a plan. He has a plan to get something from you, ladies. You have the plan of what you're going to get out of this relationship. That's why it's an exchange here. It's a mutual thing. So you shouldn't be walking away empty-handed because he ain't trying to be walking away empty-handed. All right, ladies. So that's what I mean about having a plan. Even if, like I said, it's not the end all be all at the altar, have some type of plan for why you're bringing this man into your life, what your expectation is, and that's fine. Everything doesn't have to be all heavy. You may not be in that space. And some periods of our life, ladies, is just for our development and having some fun. Everything isn't serious at first. In our 20s, maybe. Until you meet the one that you feel like, you know what, I could see a lifetime with him. But just having the right mentality about what that should look like as well, and not from the Disney perspective, is going to be very important. Because when I'm thinking about a husband or a life partner, I'm thinking about being protected and provided for and security. I'm thinking about my children and the next generation. I'm not thinking about shallow things. But that's Lakia, but it would be my advice. She said, after the narc, I'm just having fun. That's fine, Tracy, but just make sure, even when you're having fun, that nobody's taking advantage of you in any shape, form, or fashion. Make sure wherever that arrangement is that you have between that person, that even the one you're having fun with is putting you in the power position. It's lifting you up. Okay. And I don't even when I was in a phase when I was just having fun, I wouldn't have fun with a bum. Okay. Meaning, even if I don't see you as a husband, even if I'm not putting you in that position, you're still going to have husband qualities. You're still going to meet certain expectations. Like, I'm not even going to just lay, because, when you having fun with someone, things could pop off then too. Yeah, I need to know that if something were to ever pop off, you still could potentially go into that husband mode. You still could potentially be that provider and protector. So I don't even have fun, because, that's the pitfall too. Oh, we're just having fun. I didn't need to investigate him like that. I didn't know, because even when you having fun with somebody, stuff could pop off. Okay. So be careful with that fun stuff too. Just make sure they're a quality person no matter what, even if you're keeping it light with them. All right. The other thing is letting yourself go. The other thing is letting yourself go, ladies. We must know that men are visual creatures. They really are. It's just the way that God made them. It's not a horrible thing, but it is what it is. So if you're going for a certain type of man, try to look like the woman that type of man wants. That's what you would need to do, ladies. If you want a certain man, you want to be what he wants, just like he needs to be what you want. So, this isn't about self-hate. This isn't about, not accepting yourself. It's just, being real about, if you want a certain type of guy, be the type of woman that he wants. Just like if a certain guy wants you, he needs to be the type of man. It goes both ways, But don't get comfortable in your relationship, because sometimes we can do that, I've done it before. I got so comfortable with somebody, I let them see the plaits under my lace front. I was like, yeah, they ain't going nowhere. And they not going anywhere. But, just to keep things sexy, keep things romantic, keep their eyes, it's just you do that out of love, you know. You want to keep being their eye candy. So, you know, don't let yourself go. It's okay to go to the gym, you know. Keep them on their toes. And then, you know, this is just a little bonus tip. You know, if they ever try to act funny, you ain't never let yourself go. So if you ever had to go back on the market, you're ready. You already been doing the work, ladies. That's just a little big mama advice right there. It keeps them on their toes though, but it keeps their eyes, you know. Because even after a guy gets you, he like a little chase a little bit, you know. It keeps things fun, all right? Keeps things fun. So, you know, just try to be mindful of that part. And here's another one, being negative. Being negative could block you from that good man. The miscellaneous miss says, but after so much abuse, I let myself go. Yeah, that's because it wears down on your self-esteem. And then we all know when we get depressed, we don't even hardly want to get out of bed. We hardly want to maintain our normal day-to-day routine, let alone going to the gym and putting into ourselves. But honestly, that's when we need to do it the most. When we feel like that is when we need to do it the most, ladies. After going through something so severe and traumatic, that's when we need the most self-love. All right. So let's be careful about being negative, ladies. And that's, you know, goes back to the big mouth part. Sharing all those negative experiences or bringing those negative experiences into the present. No need to do that. You know, let everybody start out with a fresh slate. Just take your lessons with you and you'll be able to peep the game. You'll be able to see the red flags, but just take them with you. You don't have to talk about it, you know, and be positive with the guy. Like, who wants to hang around somebody that's negative all the time anyway? Nobody. You know, it's like a Debbie Downer, like, ugh. So, you know, nobody wants that. Marge says a narcissist is a person who leeches the life out of their loved ones because they have no love or light for themselves. And when they use a person up, they add another. Yeah. Well, they already have people on deck, whether they done using you up or not. Believe it or not, they already have another person on deck. All right. So be mindful of being negative. All right. The next thing I have on here is the wrong environment. Now, when I was single, I realized this one dating website seemed to produce the same kind of guy. And after a while of just hitting my head up against the wall, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be on this site because I used to tell myself, you know what? I'm staying on this site for the 1% of men that might be decent. But if 99% of them aren't any joke or a joke, you know, I just got turned off from it. So either way, I was willing to change the way that I put myself in a position to bump into potential partners. I was willing to change that. You know, I was willing to put on something nice and go to a 5-star restaurant and sit at the bar where the single people usually go at happy hour time or something in a little cocktail dress or something. I was willing to change my environment. I was willing to go out by myself to nice events. I was willing to change the way I was meeting people to give myself the opportunity to meet a different kind of person. So a lot of times, ladies, we're not giving ourselves the right opportunity to meet the guy because of the type of environment that we are putting ourselves in. So that's something to consider. All right. If you know you may not live in the best area right now, and maybe the men in that little area, you know, aren't as evolved or something, we know we got to go outside of that area. Okay, take a Uber, drive your car over into the different zip code of the town. Okay, and to just look the part, fit in. Look the part and fit in. They're not going to know where you're from. Who cares? Most guys aren't really stuck on that. All right, because they're the provider and the protector. But you can go outside of that zip code, you know, I know long time ago when I used to date guys from the hood, if you will, and they never even been downtown in their own hood. I'm like, look, I ain't even from this area. I'm out here for college, and you never been to the museums yet. You never like been inside the culture parts of things. They just be right there on the block, and that's what you need to pull away from, ladies. Cause he's gonna be trying to bring the block with you through the whole relationship. Like, it's too crowded in this picture. So, and he don't got a mansion for the block to fit in with you. Like, he can't even afford to bring all them people with him. Okay. So let's really consider our environment, ladies. All right. And if you're just coming into the live chat, make sure that you're hitting the like button, ladies. All right. So we talked about coming off too needy and the codependent things, and how guys see being coming off as too needy as a lack of confidence. And another way to look at that as being too needy is being too anxious. Being too anxious. Don't ever be anxious for a man. Like, they know that you're supposed to be the prize. When you're the anxious one, is very unattractive, because it's like, I can't even hunt you. I can't even pursue you. I can't even, you know, I don't need to love bomb you. You just take me, you just real easy. He gets you with one compliment. He gets you with one good date. Like, don't get, up your standards to the point where you ain't impressed so easily. Like, don't act like, let's say you did hit a whole bunch of Tyrones and you finally got you a Kevin, or somebody that act like or seem like they got a little more sense than the other ones. All right, he took you out. He played all his angles. He opened the door. He had the flowers. Y'all had a good company. He didn't try to sleep with you on the first date. And don't put him on no pedestal. Let him keep working. Don't be impressed, by the short term. Be impressed by the long term. Okay? Be impressed by the long term. All right? But I said this in my video that I put up this morning about people respect and they appreciate those compliments and those praises when you ain't constantly giving it to them. Some men, they just walk around with their heads so big because every woman is throwing them compliments at them, telling them that he looked good and all this other stuff. He used to it. So if somebody making him work for those compliments and just sparingly, they mean more when it's not so free flowing. Okay. So the next thing I have on my list is poor advice. I'm guilty of it. When we're in our youngness and we're still coming into our womanhood, sometimes we take poor advice from our girlfriends, from people in our family, just from people that we shouldn't. All right. So, this is where having your own mind comes in handy, being in tune with your own discernment. You just want to be careful about that. Who is your source? Who is your source? And what can they tell you for real? Now, people have had a lot of negative experiences. They can tell you something. They can tell you what not to do. That's for sure. And then perhaps people who've had a lot of success can tell you what to do. Or if you know what not to do, that could lead you to understand what to do. But some people just still walking around in their ignorance, ladies. So, and some of our girlfriends might be secretly jealous and haters too. I mean, is she happy, in her singleness? Is she happy with the man she got, So just be mindful of where you're getting this advice from. People could be trying to sabotage you. Get to know people for yourself. Because I've had that happen before where a girlfriend, she just swore up and down that I should not give this guy a chance. And she just didn't want to see me with him. But as we get older, we learn, how to navigate around that. But I just wanted to throw that out there about the poor advice thing. Be mindful who you're taking advice from, ladies. All right, so the other thing I have here on the list is that you just simply may not be ready. You know, you may have some shadow work to do on yourself. And I'm skimming through the comments here. And some baggage with you. And that makes you technically unavailable. All right. So just be careful. If you're really unavailable and not in that right place, you're really not over your exes, if you really haven't done enough of your shadow work, because there's always some shadow work as long as we're not perfect. But, you know, once you're balanced enough to the point where you can actually be one whole healthy person joining in with another whole healthy person, like, think about it. Would you want the person to be in the state that you're in? There's a healthy measurement bar right there. Would you want to date you as you are, knowing your problems and concerns? If not, maybe you need to work on those aspects of yourself and present yourself that way. All right. Tracy says single people love giving married people advice. Yeah. But, you know, we have to see the game. We have to see the games, lady, because Beyonce, you know, look at Beyonce. She made that song, If You Like It, Then You Should Have Put a Ring on It. And then she made all the songs to the left, because the guy was cheating. But when Jay-Z cheated on her, she stayed, ladies. She didn't leave her marriage. She was telling millions and millions of other women to leave. You know, it's the second they got cheated on. But she did not leave her marriage. So, you know, that's one example, you know, beyond trying to take friends from advice from our friends and people that we know personally, looking up to these celebrities, putting them on pedestals, and they don't even do what they're telling you to do. Okay? That's why we have to have our own minds and make our own decisions. All right. So, I pretty much touched on everything I have on this bulletin, and we're approaching the hour mark. Does anyone want to add anything else to this discussion? I done went down my list. You know, it all boils. Luby says that's why I haven't dated after the narc. I'm not quite healed, and it wouldn't be fair to the guy. Right, right. Mm-hmm. And they'll discover it. They're gonna discover that broken part of you. But yeah, ultimately, ladies, at the end of the day, is loving yourself and knowing your worth, and not letting anybody take you down from that. Take your time. I agree. I don't recommend whirlwind relationships for any survivors. I just don't. Because that makes you susceptible to that love bomb. You're making all these decisions in a love bomb phase. And then when we get to the devalue and the discard, you out there. You caught out there. Now you've prematurely attached. You know, I think that we have to look at the way that we trust men. Now, I've made a part 1 and a part 2 on trust, and if you ladies haven't watched that, I highly recommend it. After this video uploads, I'll peg it to the end of this video. You really have to watch my series on trust. You really have to watch my series on trust because, like I said, I think a lot of women are in La La Land and with this Disney thing about trust, and no one should get 100% of your trust. I don't care if it's your husband. You may not like that I said that because some of you may be married. Like, I trust my husband 100%. But here's the thing. There's no perfect people in this world. So until I get a perfect person standing in front of me, that person can get 100% of my trust. But they don't exist. So nobody gets 100% of Lakia's trust. That means I don't put nothing past nobody. As much as I love you, as much as I hope for the best. So that means I don't get devastated. It means I'm not blindsided by people's behaviors because I consider it all. I consider it all. I don't want it to happen, but I've considered it. I've considered it. Do I want my husband to cheat on me? No, but I considered it could happen. Yes. Yes. Will it devastate me? No. You're like, huh? It won't devastate you? No, it won't devastate me. I've already considered it. I consider what I would do, what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't hop in my emotions. You see, Beyonce didn't hop in her emotions. I'm just throwing that out there. I would be in my logic, and I'll do what's logical to me at that point, depending on the variables, and that's just a made up example that I'm creating here to show how I'm thinking and my emotional maturity. And that's what I talked about in my video on trust. Look, if I had 9 years married to this guy and I find out he cheated on me, am I going to just dump him? If I go talk to the lawyer and the lawyer is like, oh, well, if you're married to him for 10 years, that entitles you to retirement benefits and all this other stuff. Or am I going to get emotional and, no, I want a divorce today, and like just let go of all of that? No, mm-mm. And I'm going to do everything that's to my advantage at that point. Someone talked to me before about some marital problems, but the person had just had two small babies. They were going to school to be a registered nurse. I'm like, why would you put yourself through all that stress right now and break away from the person? And he hadn't cheated. It was some other stuff going on, just a little hiccup in the road as far as I'm concerned. But my advice to the woman was, you got to finish school. You don't want to put yourself in a more stressful situation because things have been unlikable in your marriage lately. Marriages have ups and downs to begin with. And the problems that she had with this person, she was going, most men had that problem, honey. But the last thing you want to do is put you and your children under more stress. So you deserve to be able to finish nursing school. Let him put you through school. That's the least he can do if he's doing that. And then, if the thing that's bothering you doesn't get better by the time you finish school, you could really consider it at that point and leave on a strong foot if you must. You see what I'm saying, ladies? So, and even though God created us to be emotional beings, we have to take our logic with us in life. All right. And this is why I do offer coaching to everyone that comes across my channel, men and women, that need help seeing the angles and the different perspectives that they may not immediately see in their emotions. Making emotional decisions usually doesn't lead to a good thing in life. All right. We need logic in our decisions, ladies. But let me see if there's any more comments. Yes. Wisdom. So I want to thank you, ladies, for tuning in. I was thinking about doing another live chat. What was the topic I was going to do? Because I like to separate the topics. Like, I don't want to go into another topic in this live chat when it was just dedicated to getting rid of the pick-me traits. We need to get rid of the pick-me chicks. Because you know what? They're making it hard for us chicks that ain't pick-me's. They make it harder because they're the ones setting the tones, and that's why so many Netflix and chills, why the roles is being reversed and all this other stuff is nothing but pick-me chicks that are contributing to that. We need to put them on another planet. For real. It makes it, because it's retraining guys to behave a different way. We need to get them back to the basics, all right? We need to get them back to the basics. Because for every woman that's standing in her strength, unfortunately, there's like 10 pick-me chicks over there, like enabling the poor behavior, rewarding the poor behaviors. Like some things I just don't agree with. And that's just me and my mentality. And, I'm not here to shove nothing down. I share my thoughts, and what I've experienced and what I know to be true. And, we all go on our own our journey and figure it out. But some things I just don't agree with. I don't agree with. Like, poor broke men, they don't deserve to have sex. I said it. They don't. They don't. They need to be focused on their income, focused on being a provider. They shouldn't be getting rewarded with the P. It's the way that I feel. Okay? It's the way that I feel. And, you know, being coddled, being taken care of by a woman, I don't agree with that stuff. I don't agree with it, ladies. That's what the pick-me's do. And guess what he does? He uses that woman. Once he's done, he'll go get with the woman that does have self-esteem, and he'll give her the world. He'll want that because that's more attractive, because he wants to be able to be the man. He can't be the man with the pick-me chick. I'm serious. They get strong. They take the energy from the pick-me chick to boost themselves up, and then they move on to the non-pick-me chick, and she gets the benefits. I'm telling you the equation. That's how that works. If you put yourself in the position to be the pick-me chick, you're going to get used, and they're going to take that energy, because they just took your energy, and they're going to put it on that non-pick-me chick. That's what they're going to do. I made a video, Owiana Jackson. I made a video on what shadow work is. So if you go on YouTube on the search bar and you Google shadow work, reflection, and progression, the video will pop right up. Okay. That video will pop right up. And that's an introductory video on what shadow work is. But in a nutshell, shadow work is just the broken aspects of us. Most of the time, it's our inner childhood wounds that need to be healed, that are replaying themselves out over and over again in our adult relationships. It's the toxic aspects of ourselves that we need to have awareness about, and then find some resolution. That's our shadow work. And everybody has it in some area, because none of us are perfect. It's just that when the shadow work is super like overwhelmingly heavy, you know, we got to get some balance with it. When it really needs is like a flickering red light, and it needs a lot of attention. All right, ladies, it was fun having this discussion. You know, you can get what you want. Don't let nobody tell you can't. You can. You just got to command it and be willing and be patient to not only project it and have it in your essence, but also, you know, command it from the people that you're interacting with, and be willing to let go of the person that doesn't. All right. So, you know, we'll have some more live chats like this, but I don't want anybody on this channel to be a pick-me. Don't be a pick-me. Don't be desperate. Don't be thirsty. None of that. There's no need. Yes, Tracy, I did say that like 3 live chats ago that I was going to do one on co-parenting. Let me get my notes. I have a lot of notes on that. Marge says, practice on all men and all people. Well, you know, people, look. Psychology is about observing our target. So yeah, we can practice. But yeah, that's funny. I was going to share a story, but I think I won't. But all right, guys. Thanks for showing so much support and love. Sorry, next one, Kate, that you're just coming in and I'm about to be rolling out. Well, I have a website, Owiana. She just asked about shadow work. So she basically asking about the coaching that I do provide, guys. That information is on my website, lakiacrawford.com, and that link is below all my videos. It'll be below this live chat once YouTube uploads it. But I do voice chats, or basically voice phone calls with you. I do FaceTimes where we'll be talking just like this, or Skype. Sometimes we do it over social media like Facebook or Instagram, you know, whatever works well for the person. I do email coaching where you just want to write. And I have mobile texting support as well. The best place to get that is through a monthly membership on Patreon, guys. And Patreon is a nice happy medium to getting services from me as well, beyond YouTube platform, and saving money as opposed to full price on the website. So there are ways that you can get services with me at a monthly rate, okay? So you might want to check that out. But the 1 hour, I have half an hour sessions and 1 hour sessions typically, unless, you know, we negotiate something else. And then there's bundles where you can purchase multiple sessions at one time and save money on that. But a half an hour session, I'm trying to think. I think that might be 75. The hour session is 100 for just voice calls. But then there's FaceTime, it's 125 an hour. And then, like I said, if you purchase more than one session at a time, because the typical person does get more than one session from me, you'll save money. Like you get 4 sessions for the price of 3, 10 sessions for the price of 7 for the bigger packages. So there's all types of things that you guys can do to get, you know, further access, and if you want to get coaching from me, all right? I have the support group over on Facebook. I want to throw that in for survivors of narcissistic abuse. That link is below all my videos as well, all right? I've written 4 books. You can check those out on my website. They're on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's, ebook and hard copies. Signed copies can be ordered through my website. They'll definitely help you out as well. With that being said, guys, what I said at the end of all of my videos is to never give up on yourself, of course, and to continue to do the work. And until next time, take care. There'll be a lot more live chats for different topics. This makes my editing process a lot easier, so I'll opt to do it most of the time moving forward. So I forgot what the next topic was going to be. I wrote it down somewhere, but I do owe a co-parenting live chat. I said that a few live chats ago, a couple of days ago. So I will be having that one pretty soon for those of you who are co-parenting with a narcissist. All right, so be on the lookout for that. And until next time, guys. Oh no, there's no editing on live chat. Whatever it is, whatever comes out is what comes out. All right. So I'll talk to you guys next time. You guys have a good evening and enjoy. She says it's a waste of time. And enjoy your weekend.